If you're forming a US LLC from outside the United States, at some point you're going to need a business address. You might be wondering to yourself, do I really need to shell out all this money for a physical office space, or can I just get away with a virtual office? Well, the answer really depends, like a lot of things, on what you need it for. A physical office address is exactly what it sounds like. It's a commercial space that you lease from a landlord. It's a real building. You can go there and visit, and you could, in theory, work from that space. A virtual office address, on the other hand, is a service that gives you a real US street address, typically in some kind of building, but that's really it. It's more of a mailbox. There's no lease agreement. You just have to pay a monthly fee for them to collect your mail. Sometimes they also provide other services like a registered agent or phone reception for your business. Now, most virtual offices are also registered as CMRAs. That stands for Commercial Mail Receiving Agency. We're going to come back to that in a minute because it's an extremely important distinction. When it comes to cost, physical office definitely is not cheap. At the least, you're going to be paying $200 or $300 a month in a low-cost area, but that can easily get up to thousands of dollars a month in a major city. Physical offices also require a lease agreement, and typically that's going to last at least 1 year, but it can stretch into multiple years depending on what the landlord wants to do. Now, a virtual office runs anywhere from $15 to $150 a month. There's no long-term commitment there most of the time. Now, when it comes to banking, most US banks are going to want to verify that your business has a physical operating presence in the US. That's mainly due to the Patriot Act and more recently the 2020 Anti-Money Laundering Act established a lot of regulations, and banks have since changed their rules about what counts as an office space. Now, again, most virtual offices, they're registered with the US Postal Service as CMRAs. A CMRA is a business that receives mail on behalf of other businesses or other people. So when you sign up for most virtual offices, you're going to be required to complete a form called USPS Form 1583. And that registers your address in the USPS database as a CMRA. So when you go to open a bank account, banks are going to check that address against the database. When your address comes back to them as a CMRA, that tells them that it's a mail forwarding service, not a legitimate business location. It's not a physical operating address. A lot of times, banks ask for documents like a lease agreement or a utility bill to prove that your business actually operates from that address. A CMRA address obviously can't provide those documents, so that's another reason why these types of addresses often don't work for banking purposes. So the real question here is, if a physical office space is too costly, but a virtual office isn't going to pass the verification test, then what can non-resident LLC owners actually do to fulfill this requirement? One option here that a lot of people try is using their registered agent's address for banking. Now, this is very hit or miss. Some non-residents do report that it works, but obviously if the bank comes and asks for a proof of address document, or they see that the registered agent is also registered as a CMRA, then we'll get back to square one. If you have a friend or a relative that lives in the US, that's another option. US residents can use their US residential address for banking verification. But again, you're gonna need that proof of address. Maybe get them to write you a lease. That could possibly work, but for a lot of people, that's not gonna be very practical. The third option is to use our address service here at Nomadpreneur. Quick plug for ourselves here. We provide a real physical office space, not a CMRA address, with a lease agreement. It's only $20 a month. So if you're interested, check out the link in the video description. So to sum up, virtual offices are great for things like mail forwarding, reception services. They're usually pretty cheap. You can also use them as your address to register the LLC. Physical offices are a a lot more expensive, but they work for things like banking, payments, Amazon verification, and all that sort of thing. If you found this video useful, hit that like button. We're a new channel, so it really helps us out in the algorithm so we can get this content to more people who need to see it. And don't forget, subscribe. We have a lot more content coming that remote business owners and non-resident LLC owners are going to find really, really useful. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We want to know what you think so we know what to talk about in future videos. Thanks for watching Nomadpreneur, and we'll see you again soon.